Remind me why I decided to bind this guitar? I know, it's gonna have to look like a mad cat. So the inevitable has come, and it's time to put the binding on here. And I am hesitant about this step. It is super highly visible, no margin for error. We're dealing with thicknesses and positioning in the thousandths of an inch. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. So we have the ½ inch that's going to go on the top. And we have the ½ inch that's going to go along the bottom of this nice celluloid tortoiseshell binding. I have this binding router bit here with an offset bearing, and I'm going to put that on. I'll shoot a close up here so we can see the binding going on, because that is going to offset just enough for creating a little ledge around the top and bottom of the guitar that is 0.090 inches thick, which is exactly the thickness of this binding. So that's going to get cut out and set in there so that it's flush with the body and just proud of the top. So we can take a scraper and level the top out, and then we should have some nice tortoiseshell binding. Terrifying, but off we go. So now I need to set the height here and depth on this so that it is a little bit less than the height of the binding, so that I can leave enough in there to have it proud by just a hair. And that looks like okay. I think that's looking good from a height standpoint. I do have some offcuts from when I originally cut out the body. And I have then a couple of test pieces that I'm going to use to route a couple of sample sizes and make sure that the binding is fitting appropriately before I do it on the actual guitar body, of course. I'm going to start on the back and do the back first, just to see how this bit works and make sure that everything is doing what it needs to do. Also, when I do the top where the maple is, it's going to take 2 passes because that depth of this bit is not enough to do everything I need for the thicker binding, which is 0.565. So, time to give it a whirl on this practice piece. Well, that worked pretty well. Got a nice channel there, and that binding is laying right in there, and it's just ever so slightly proud of the top. Let me see if I can get a close-up of that, but this is looking pretty good. All right, the back is done. Got a pretty nice ledge there. Take a look at the binding channel here. And that's looking like it's fitting just perfect. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to bend this and get it into final position and get it glued. So in preparation for gluing the binding on after routing the channel, I am just using a scraper to clean up that edge from the little bit of fibers that naturally tear off when you route. But the scraper takes that right down and lets me get right in that corner. So I'm getting set to glue up the back binding. I actually took a piece of string and measured out and cut a string to length around the perimeter of this so that I could use it with a little mark in the middle for where it hits the exact center of the end, and find the center of the end of the binding piece because I'll be working from the center out around. I don't have much extra room on this binding. There's only an inch or so on each end spare. So I need to be reasonably accurate in where that starting point is. I've roughly taped this binding into place up until the sharp bends here at the end. And I'm gonna now heat up and pre-bend these to get them roughly into shape. So that when it comes to glue up time, I'm not both bending and gluing. So I've pre-bent the binding. I heated it up, let it cool down, so I've got those sharp bends pretty well started. I've cut a ton of tape. My lovely assistant Lee is going to come out and help hand tape, because never having done this before, I really don't know whether four hands is useful or not, but she's on standby for that. And then I'll just, there are just a couple of spots where I'll need to do kind of one last burn as I tape, or heat, as not burn, as I tape that in, because of the the little bump in the shoulder and whatnot, to really get that seated in there while the glue's on it. So I think I'm ready to glue. That was a lot harder than it looked. Thanks to Lee for assisting on this. I don't know that I could have done this by myself for the first time. I learned a lot. This glue, It says the open time is 2 minutes, but I'm thinking that it's well under 2 minutes. It might be because it's pretty hot today. It's in the mid 80s outside. The garage here isn't air conditioned in the shop, so this stuff is like setting up after 45 seconds. Top's on, or back actually, not top, is on and glued. I'm hoping that the special StewMac tape for binding gluing comes off like it's supposed to, and this all scrapes down, because boy, there's a lot of squeeze out. We shall see.